All right, good morning. So today we're going to start off with some review over reflections. If we look here, if we reflect point A over the y-axis. So this one I'll do in blue. We know our y-axis. It's labeled on here. It's right here. Point A over the y-axis, it's 1, 2 to get to it. So 1, 2 will reflect past it. And remember that is not A, that's going to be A prime. Okay, now our next one, point B, over the line x equals 1. So x equals 1 cuts through the x-axis here at 1. So if we would draw that line in, line of reflection right here, okay, it cuts through the x-axis at 1. Every point on here equals 1. B is once again 2 away. So we go 2 past, and this will be where B prime ends up. Okay, our next one, over the x-axis, point C. C is 1 away from the x-axis, so we'll go 1 past, and that will be C prime. Our next one, D, over the line x equals 4. So once again here, we go through the x-axis at 4. It's 1 away, so it ends up 1 past, D prime. Our final one then, through the line y equals -1. So y equals -1 cuts through the y-axis at -1. So E is 1, 2, 3 away. So 1, 2, 3 past. And that would be E prime. And that is how you do those. So all 5 reflections on one graph, we just do each of them one at a time. Find your line of reflection and then reflect it. Now, today we're going to talk about compositions. This is just when we do either a translation, a reflection, rotation, but we do more than one of them. Okay, so if we fill in our definition here, it's when we have multiple transformations that occur one after another. I forgot the S there. So multiple transformations occur one after another. That is called a composition. Much like in music, a composition is made up of multiple movements. Composition in geometry is multiple movements. We do one movement, then another movement, then another. So if we look here at this first one, our translation, it begins x plus 1, y plus 8, and then it reflects over the y-axis. So x plus 1, y plus 8. All right, so as we look here on this first one, x plus 1, y plus 8. It's going to move right 1 and then up 8. So right 1, up 8. And you can count each of these over, or you can figure them out. It's up to you. A prime, B prime, and C prime, that's what we want to find. So if I look at A, it's right 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that will be at the point, I believe it's 3, 6 here. Okay, meanwhile, oops, I forgot to mark it. That is A prime. Okay, meanwhile, B goes right 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that will be at the point 8, 6. And then finally, C prime, right 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that will be at the point 8, 2. Okay, now all I have to do is connect those dots. And it will reflect over the line A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. Okay, so if it reflects over that y-axis, we know that A double prime will end up 1, 2, 3 right here. Also, the reason it's double prime, if someone would walk into the room, they would already know it starts at A, then it goes to A prime, then it goes to A double prime, then B to B prime to B double prime. It always happens in that order. So B prime, double prime, and here will be C double prime. Okay, we connect the dots. All I got to do now is write the coordinates. Each of these would change to a negative, so 3, 6, oops. The initial point, 3, 6, the x value changes, so it'd be negative 3, 6. 8, 6 becomes negative 8, 6. And 8, 2, negative 8, 2. All right, our next one here. If we look, we don't have a graph this time. We just are reasoning through it. We know P starts at 4, negative 2. So P prime goes on a translation, x plus 4, y. So P prime will result in 8, negative 2. And now reflect over the x-axis. If we think about it, if we have our graph here, it's a little sloppy, but if we have the point 4, negative 2, and then it's 8, negative 2, that's somewhere over here. If we reflect over the x-axis, it would end up somewhere up there. The x value will not change. So P double prime will still be 8, but instead of negative 2, it'll be positive 2. So on the next one, if we started at P, that's still at 4, negative 2. P prime becomes 5, negative 4. And then if we reflect it over the y-axis, so once again, 5, negative 4, somewhere down here, ends up over here, the x value will change. It will be negative 5, negative 4. The y value stays the same. All right. On to the next one. If we graph point MN, so M is at negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. And N is at negative 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now at this point, if I were you, I would turn your device or your paper or whatever you have. We're doing a 90-degree clockwise. So 90 degrees is one turn, clockwise is to the right. So you turn it to the right, okay, and then you write down what those points are. So in our case, M prime. So if we turn it 90 degrees clockwise, M prime will become 2, 4. Meanwhile, N prime will become 5, 2. So I plot those points 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 1, 2. And that is, let's see, so M prime and N prime. Okay, now we need to connect those dots. I forgot to at the beginning. And now the final thing, we got to reflect it over the x-axis. So that will end up down 4, M double prime, and N double prime. So M double prime, N double prime, oops. So that'll be 2, negative 4, and 5, negative 2. And we got one left. Our final one does not ask us to graph it as we go, or to write the points as we go. We can just, let me get rid of this so I have the space here. We're going to plot the initial points, A, B, and C. So A is at 9, negative 4. B is at 7, negative 1. C is at 11, negative 1. And we are rotating this 90 degrees counterclockwise, so it'll be to the left. Turn your device to the left, figure out what those points are. They will be at 1, 11, 1, 7, and let's see, it looks like 4, 9. A prime, B prime, C prime, connect the dots. And then the final thing we got to do, reflect over the y-axis. So they will end up right here. A double prime, C double prime, and B double prime. All right, that is all I have for today. There was in class an exit ticket. If you weren't here, let me know and I can give it to you when you come back. Hope you have a great day.